Welcome to the Teaching Journeys podcast, hosted by Dave Roberts. Humanity possesses a unique skill, the ability to pass knowledge from one generation to the next. This podcast embraces that ability, offering learning opportunities through conversations with extraordinary guests. Dave aims to leave a positive mark on individuals around the world. So before you dive into today's episode, please share this podcast with your network, including friends, family, and colleagues. And please consider leaving a rating or review. Your support makes all the difference.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Teaching Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Dave Roberts, and today it is my absolute pleasure to have as my guest Keith Mercer. Keith Mercer is a leadership and mindset expert, a professional speaker, education consultant, and author who is helping teams, leaders, students, and organizations build confidence, culture, and high performance. And the brevity of his bio does not do justice to the impact of this man. So we're going to get into a lot of what he's doing with young adults, with educators, with organizations, but before we get into that, Keith, welcome to the Teaching Journeys podcast. I've been looking forward to our conversation for quite a while now.
Thank you for having me, Dave. It's an honor to be here. I love what you do and just how your service of impacting students and this next generation. I'm excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me on as a guest.
Well, you're welcome. And we do share that as our passion for impacting the lives of young adults for the better. The young adults are our future. They need good mentors. They need good coaches. They need good leaders to help them, steer in the right direction. And I'm just glad that you are one of those mentors that they can rely on. And I know we're going to talk a lot about what you do with Mercer Elite, your work as an author. We're going to cover a whole lot of ground today and probably not get through all of it, which means that if we don't, I'm going to have you back for a part two. That's provided I don't scare you away today.
Put me in the game, Coach. I'm excited. I can't wait.
All right. Well, my first question for you is tell our audience about the major experiences that have shaped who you are today.
Wow. Okay. So let's start with, I'm originally from Washington, D.C., Capitol Heights, Maryland, which at the time was known as murder capital. So I was surrounded around violence, poverty, drugs, and those was the things that I saw every day. So at a young age, I had to do something different. I had to figure out a path. So I had to really develop me. I didn't know what that was called, but I knew that there was something different out here in the world for me. So I had a situation coming back from the corner store. So growing up, one of the places that we could be was at the park. The park was a no drug zone, no violence zone, because that's where the kids was at. So I had a situation where I was walking home with my brother and a couple of buddies and heard gunshots, which gunshots at the time was something that I honestly experienced every day. That became the normal. But this particular day, it was different. The air was different. Closer I got to walking back home from the arcade, I heard gunshots and I could see a guy had just got shot. It was actually a kid, he no older than 18 years old, had just got shot in his head. But it was those experiences that I saw growing up, and it was those times that I had to make a decision. Is this what my future was going to be or not? So I made some decisions at that age that I was different. I didn't want this. I wasn't going to be a drug guy. I wasn't going to be a jump out kid. I wasn't going to be a bully. That's what I wasn't going to be. So I just started developing me, started believing in myself, developing those skills, reaching out for different avenues. And I had adults in my life that I could lean on, coaches, mentors. So I just had to fill gaps, I had to really look for outlets. I mean, I am the second to youngest out of 90 some cousins. I'm the first one to go to college. Like I'm the first one. I've always been the first at majority of things in my family. So as a kid, I was angry. I used to cry a lot because I was just in fear of my environment, in fear of, am I going to be next?
Yeah.
It numbed me, because that violence became my reality. Poverty became my reality. And it was really difficult as a kid to see that, to go through that, and to be able to move forward.
Yeah, and I imagine living in that environment where you're surrounded by murder, death. I imagine at a young age you have an appreciation or awareness of your own mortality, that when you wake up, this could be the last day you're alive.
I'll give you another story. As I got older, my mom used to ask me about my hugs. I used to give my mom these really big hugs. And as I got older, once I became a young adult, that question came up again from her. And I told her, I just said, Mom, I don't know if this was going to be my last day. I gave you everything I had to make sure that you knew that I loved you, because you just never know. You grow up in survival mode. You just don't know.
And I imagine for a young child like yourself, that had to be almost overwhelming and draining.
It was devastating. It became my reality. A lot of my friends, they succumbed to that environment. But I always stayed the course. Still today, I've never done a drug. I've never smoked anything. I've never had coffee. One of the things that growing up in that environment taught me was grit, resilience, to keep pushing forward. So my goal was, how can I channel this in a positive way to help my future be better? It was hard for me to see past that day. I can remember just saying prayers, Dave, hey, let's just get through the day. Let's just get through this hour. Let's just get through it. And it really helped shape who I am today, with resilience and a discipline. When I had friends that wanted to go to different neighborhoods to shoot up the neighborhood, I was able to say no. And that was the big thing for me. I was known for, I could say no because I knew it wasn't right.
Yeah, I mean, to make that decision at such a young age where you're going to look at the environment you're in and say, I don't want to be a product of this. I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want to be better. I want to transcend it, particularly with all of the peer influences around you to not do that. The fact that you were just able to find the internal fortitude to be able to say, no, this isn't the life that I want to lead, that's commendable. Because I don't know if a lot of individuals in those circumstances may see themselves, and correct me if I'm wrong, as the victim of their circumstances, as this is all I'm destined for. So I might as well get in line with everybody else and do what everybody else is doing, which could lead to incarceration, which could lead to an early death. But it's like if they believe it's their destiny, then they feel disempowered to do anything about it.
Absolutely. And I've seen it. I've witnessed it firsthand. A lot of my friends went to jail. A lot of them got killed. The thing is at an early age, I learned that my current situation is not my final destination. I learned that, and I just needed something I could do that could keep me out of that environment. And I chose athletics. That was my way out. I didn't allow my situation to dictate me or to tell me who I was. I knew I had something better, something different inside of me. I didn't know what it was called at the time, but I knew I had something different inside of me.
Yeah, you did find a path to athletics, and I think specifically football.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about that part of your life. And I know you ended up at the University of Nebraska. So tell us about that whole journey.
So it all started in boys club. I played for Capitol Heights, which is our neighborhood youth team. I've played football since I was 55 pounds. Then ended up playing for Peppermill and also played for Columbia. Basketball was actually my favorite sport. The thing I loved about football is I can get my anger out. I could turn my anger into purpose, which is what I did. Because I knew I was an angry kid, but it was the environment that brought that out of me. But I was able to channel that anger into purpose on the field, in workouts, running stadium stairs. And that was my outlet. I needed an outlet, something to do that could occupy time, but also help me grow and teach me things that I couldn't get on the corners.
How did you end up at the University of Nebraska?
Wow. I was a high school All-American quarterback. One of my wide receivers, Dwayne Wiles, ended up going to Nebraska. So coming out of high school, of course, I didn't have the greatest grades. So I ended up going to a junior college in Rockville, Maryland, called Montgomery College. So we ended up playing in the national championship against Coffeyville, Kansas. But when I went to junior college for a year, Dwayne ended up going to Nebraska. So when he would come home in the summers, he was different. He looked good. He was healthy. He was calm. He was more relaxed. And I love that. And we had those conversations about Nebraska, which I didn't even know Nebraska exists, to be honest with you. But ended up coming to JUCO and met Coach Osborne, and it was a match made in heaven from there, actually. It was a great feeling. And I believed in myself enough to want to take that journey. I remember taking this brown, dingy suitcase with duct tape on it to Nebraska, and that's all I had.
That's all you needed.
Absolutely.
Coach Osborne, we've talked about him off camera. I live in upstate New York. I saw interviews with Coach Osborne when he was the coach of Nebraska. And I know you were part of a national championship team.
Oh, the championship team. Yes. So I was there from 93, 95, 92, 95.
Okay. And you won the national championship what year?
So we won it in 94 and 95.
So good consecutive national championships.
Yeah. Nebraska won it 2 consecutive years, and it was, wow. Coach Osborne, when you're talking about the ultimate leader, you're talking about a God-fearing man, a faith-driven guy. He was consistent. Everything he practiced and he preached, he practiced. He would stay in the stadium and talk to every kid and just give every kid a positive message. It's the little behind the scene things that people do that show you who they are. Not when the cameras are on. It's when the cameras are off. And it didn't matter whether you was an All-American or you was a ball boy. He treated everybody the same. He knew your mom and dad's name. He knew where he was from. He was just a really, really intelligent guy that he cared about people. We never talked about wins. You know, he talked about you being a good person. He talked about success is having good character. You know, he talked about those things. It was not about titles. It was not about any of the other stuff. It was just about character and you becoming a better person. You becoming a better Christian. You getting a good education. He just wanted people to graduate. He was a big influence in my life behind the scenes, which he was for a lot of guys that look like me. You know, he really had to tame a lot of egos. I mean, we had guys from every state, from different situations. He was able to bring that together as one. Everybody was All-Americans on our team. He was able to build them up to the point where you understood team. You understood your role. Everyone felt that they were important, that you was a part of something special. Like I knew that early on. This was a special team. It wasn't about the wins and losses. It was just about the growth and what we took from that.
And that's a sign of an impactful coach. It isn't just the X's and O's. It isn't just what they do on the sidelines. It's like you said, what happens behind the scenes. It's making everybody, treating them as if they're the most important person in the world, regardless of their skill level, regardless of their role on the team. But it's getting them to create a community where you are connected to something greater than yourselves, and you would go through a brick wall for any one of your teammates. And the Wins took care of themselves because he empowered everybody.
Yes.
And he saw everybody as valuable individuals, as people
Absolutely.
of value. And if you do that, you're gonna give 100% maximum effort, and the Wins are going to take care of themselves. And I can see, just based on who you are and the understanding the work that you do with Mercer Elite with these young adults,
Yes,
I could see where a lot of Coach Osborne's characteristics have rubbed off on you. You have become, I think, in some way, an extension of him.
I get goosebumps just talking about it, because I was a role player in Nebraska, but I was willing to play that role because of Coach Osborne, and just to be a part of something special. He was different. He was consistent. What you saw every day was what you get. He didn't yell. He didn't curse. He was available. A lot of coaches at his status aren't necessarily available, but he was always available. He always listened. He would take time out. Just those little things that really helped me, which is, again, why I went into studying people. He understood how to motivate people, how to bring out the best in people, not about the X's and O's. He was a genius when it came to football, but he was an even better person when it came to people and uplifting and leadership, building, developing the person was his big thing, and everything was positive. He never raised his voice. Everything was positive, and a word guy. And that really, really rubbed off on me. And I needed that. I needed that at that stage. And that really helped me on my next phase of life. He's everything that you see and that you don't see. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff that people just don't know about him. He's just a good, genuine, faith-driven guy.
The thing that is impressive about him is that he knew the names of your family. He knew the names of your parents. And one of the things that I have been taught in my years of working in the addictions field is get to know people. And as a professor at Utica University, get to know your students. Make sure you address them by name. If they're experiencing some personal problems, let's check and see how they're doing. And make yourself available. I tell my students, being a professor isn't a 9-to-5 job. I just don't go give you information and then I'm inaccessible. I said, if you need me, you need to email me. You've got something coming up. You're not going to be in class. You got a question. Unless you email me after 10 o'clock at night, I'm not going to respond. But before then, you can bet I will respond within 24 hours of your inquiry. And I also encourage them to text me. My phone number's on the syllabus, text me. Students now are into technology. So it's basically meeting them where they're at, understanding what gets them engaged, and then just creating a framework where that happens. The other thing that Coach Osborne did, he created a very safe, consistent environment for individuals like you that basically had to probably prepare for chaos every day. That type of consistency, I think, has to be welcome for individuals who came out of environments that were unpredictable. At least with Coach, this is what you see is what you get. These are the expectations. It's not going to change. And if they're going to change, he's going to let you know first that it's going to change. There's going to be no surprises. And I would imagine that type of structure, that type of consistency had to be a welcome change for you and other players who came from very similar environments.
You hit the nail right on the head. One of my biggest issues when I got to Nebraska was it was too quiet. I didn't hear gunshots. I didn't even hear ambulances. So it was a culture shock for me because I'm used to being around violence. I'm used to the gunshots, the noise. people outside fighting, drugs on the corner. I wasn't used to it being so clean. I wasn't used to things being quiet. You can hear birds, right? I wasn't used to that. And that was a shock for me when I couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks. Couldn't sleep, ended up going to a psychologist. Coaches was like, listen, are you okay? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Because I kept getting into fights. And I just said, where I'm from, if I'm not fighting, I'm not trying. That's a natural day for me. And I learned early on that it was different there. And I always say I actually got the best of both worlds. I came from the East Coast that was so aggressive. If everything was aggressive, everything was violence, everything was survival mode. So when I got to Nebraska, it was the opposite. Yeah. Things were quiet. I actually got to think about real life stuff. I didn't have to go into survival mode, but it took me a while to get out of that because that's, coming from Washington, D.C., that's all I knew.
Oh, yeah.
That's where Nebraska came and helped so much. I mean, our psychologists, we had a full-time psychologist and practices that really helped me get through that stuff because they did a study on me. I didn't have REM sleep. I didn't go through REM sleep growing up and just didn't know because, again, I was survival mode. I'm worried about somebody busting in the door or gunshots coming through the house. Those little things that we sometimes take for granted. But when I got to Nebraska, that all changed. It was welcome, and I was able to combine the two. And it really helped me be a better man, a better Christian, a better husband, a better father, a better teacher because of those experiences.
But yeah, in chaos, you learn hypervigilance. And
absolutely.
You learn, yeah.
It teaches you who you are.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about pressure. What pressure reveals is really who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I always use pressure as something positive. It's the opportunity to grow. Just like adversity is the resistance, we need to grow. We grow more off of losses, not off of wins.
Absolutely. I mean, if we couldn't grow through adversity, there'd be no growth at all.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the hypervigilance piece, I could see you had to sleep with one eye open because, like you said, you never knew who was going to break down the door, who was going to come in with guns ablazing. So you learn to be on alert all the time. And so I can imagine you're going to Nebraska where it's quiet and quieter. It was like, okay, well, when's the excitement going to start? You're on edge. You're ready for action because that's how you've learned to survive. And
absolutely.
Yeah, but the thing is that you're right. We can use pressure in a very positive way. I tell my students, you're going to get anxious before doing a project. That's okay. Use that anxiety as a motivator for you to do the best project possible. Don't let anxiety overcome you, but use it as a motivator. The other things, like you said, the aggression that you learn through fighting, through survival, you could channel that into assertiveness. You can channel that into persistence. You don't need to change it. You just need to kind of remake it.
Absolutely. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just use your momentum. And that's the big thing in life right now. I mean, life is going to life. And that's what we got to understand. There's no such thing as a perfect situation. Life will life. It's how you adjust to that. We had another coach used to always say, the great ones adjust. Life is just about adjustment because life is going to life. You can't predict life. But what you can predict is how you allow that to, to dictate your next step. What's next?
Absolutely. When I was watching film of you, on the internet, on YouTube, I'm thinking to myself, boy, I wish I could be 16 again just so I could be in one of his classes. So, because you have such an amazing energy. You are truly vested in the lives of the young adults that come into your path. So tell us about Mercer Elite. Tell us how that all evolved, and tell us about who you serve and what you believe the impact of what you do has on the individuals that have been a part of that.
Yes, sir. So Mercer Elite started. I promised God and my parents that no matter what community I go into, I'll do my part. because I believe in impact. I believe in leadership. So Mercer Elite Academy started in 2009, 2010. Within the program, it's about teaching leadership, teaching confidence, understanding the importance of education, being intentional about your education, being strong in your values, and goal setting moving forward. Since then, the Academy has helped over 200 athletes, guys and girls, get college scholarships by believing in themselves. Different sports have Olympic gold medalists, professional athletes, doctors, lawyers, all across the realm. So I wanted to expand that more. I wanted to expand that more to a bigger outreach. So then I created the Mercer mentality, the positive word of the day, because you never know, Dave, what someone's going through.
Yep.
You know, we've been conditioned to put on a smile, put on a good face, but we're hurting inside. I had met a social worker that loved what I was doing in the community. So she asked me to bring my leadership program into the school. So for 5 years, I created the Mercer Elite Leadership Program that's in high schools, middle schools, and junior high schools to help build students up, to help students develop those personal agencies that they're lacking. So throughout the program, had some amazing data, just really helping kids develop who they are. My motto is we weren't born to be average. We were born to be great, Dave. Each person in this world has a talent or a gift inside of them that drives their purpose. And that purpose is what the world needs in order for the world to be a better place. They just need to be taught the skills to be able to do them. And that's the big thing, is to, like you said, we have to reach people where they are and not expect them to be at a certain place.
And that's one of the things I loved. I saw this on your website, is we weren't born to be average. And I believe that. I tell my students all the time, I say, I don't care what other professors have told you. I don't care what your high school teachers have told you. I don't care what you've done in other classes, whether you're a D student, a C student. I want to treat you as if you're capable of doing great things. And it's going to be up to you to buy into it. But understand, I'm going to treat you as if you have the potential to make a wonderful impact in this world. And I'm not going to stop believing in you. If you don't believe in yourself, I can't control for that. But understand that even the days you don't believe in yourself, I'm always going to believe in you. And which leads me to my next question, or one of the topics that I know you like talking about. How do we create a culture where students understand they weren't born to be average?
Well, we have to build them up. I mean, we really have to build them up. I use I call the Mercer Elite 4 B's of success. The first B is believe. We really have to help them believe in themselves. You know, for example, daily affirmations. Well, actually, it starts internally. Believing in yourself and understanding that. And I tell students this, listen, you are 100% at overcoming your hardest days right now. So you already have experience at overcoming things. So that in itself should help you believe in yourself a little more. My second B is begin. All success starts with action. Once you develop that confidence, now you're able to take some action. You're able to begin your journey, whatever that journey is for you, to help you get to your purpose. My third B is beyond. We got to continue to raise that standard. We got to continue to move forward in life, because that's life. It's doing the extra with ordinary, combining that, and you become extraordinary. And my fourth B is balance. And this is where kids sometimes have the difficult times with all the distractions, with all the social media, with all these external expectations. You need to maintain your balance and stay focused on first things first. Your circumstance is not your final destination. And they have to understand that. Don't let a temporary situation become your long-term outcome. It doesn't have to be that way. Let's maintain balance with your mental health and keep moving forward. And we have to teach that to help them find their success, not what society says, what you feel from within you that you can accomplish and be successful in.
Yeah, let them create their own idea of what success means for them, not like what society expects or what the culture expects. And I like the fact that you emphasize not only empowerment, but, teaching life skills. Because
Absolutely.
one of the things that I think, and I see this as an educator, and I have a lot of good students, but I don't think all high schools do what they need to do to give them the life skills that they need to succeed in college and in life. Because, young adults are vested in establishing their independence,
Yes.
becoming adults, leaving the nest. But then when they get out on their own, they realize it's like, boy, I was ill-equipped. And typically they'll struggle a lot, particularly in their freshman year because of that.
Yes.
And I think all schools in the country should have some type of a mandatory life skills training.
Absolutely.
In addition to the curriculum that they're going to need, the academic balance that they're going to need to succeed in college. But without the life skills, success is going to be kind of inconsistent.
I really like that. And I always say, I feel like the Mercer Leadership Program helps with what we call their freshman fog. When students think of education, they think of subjects, math, English, history, all those subjects. But the reality of it is the main subject is actually you. The main subject is the student, right? So then how do we equip them to be ready for life? And it's those life skills, right? Because again, we want them to go into college with a purpose. We want them to go into higher education with a path, with balance, ready to go, as opposed to sitting around that freshman year. Well, it's my freshman year. I really don't know what I want to do. Imagine if we can equip them with a game plan that freshman year to where they're ready. So when they hit the ground running, they're prepared. They understand that, you know what? It's supposed to be difficult. That's how I'm going to grow. So I'm already ready. I have a game plan, something that I can execute every day because I believe in myself. I have the confidence to be able to go to a professor like yourself and be able to communicate. A lot of that is lost in today's education, but that's a big thing. The life skills is really a big thing. And I've seen that firsthand. I think two of the biggest issues that students face today is identity, because they're comparing themselves to unrealistic reality that's sometimes not even true. It's AI driven.
Yeah.
And identity and then direction. What do I do next? Well, I know I got to go to college, but then what?
Yep.
I know I need an education, but then what? Because I believe it's not a teacher's job to teach you. It's your job to learn.
Yeah.
So once you see things that way, you become accountable, then you're able to take in the information, but then also to be able to use the information immediately. And that's the thing I love about the Mercer Leadership Program is, can they take what they've learned immediately and use it when they walk out? Is that a life skill, right? Is that something they have that's tangible that can help them with whatever they're facing in their life? And that starts internally.
And the life skills are what's going to help them become successful. Because Keith, I tell my students this, I said, no employer is ever going to ask you what your GPA was in college. They're going to want to see that you have a degree, but what they are more interested in is what life skills do you bring to the table that's going to help them meet their organizational mission? What can you bring to the table that's going to help grow the organization? As long as you got the degree, that's all they're worried about. They're not worried about GPA. But the other thing you mentioned, comparison, and a lot of students that I've talked to, social media is a big, big downer for them because they're constantly comparing each other's lives on social media. And social media doesn't even give you the total picture of what's going on in a person's life.
Yes.
I mean, I use social media, but I use it for a specific purpose. But you
Yes.
would never know what's going on intimately in my life just by looking at my social media page. But yet students, until they begin to develop their decision-making skills or discernment skills, they look and, boy, this person's got it better than me. Well, that's the illusion that they're creating.
Yes.
Because the person who's creating the illusion doesn't think they have it better than the person who's looking at their social media page, so they have to create that. And the other person is looking and saying, boy, I wish I could be like them. Well, they're probably, that person who created that page is thinking, boy, I wish I could be like you. So, and the other thing is suicide rates. And I think you've run into this. In the ages of 10 and 24, suicide is the leading cause of death in that age group. And for all we know, Keith, it could be the first, because a lot of times all suicides, death by suicides, don't get reported because of the stigma that's associated with that.
Yes.
And what I'm concerned with college students is that many of the suicides that occur within college students are the second semester of their freshman year.
Yes. Because they lack that confidence, they lack those skills, and they start to not believe in themselves. And absolutely, it's like you said, that comparison of, well, this person's life looks great. Why am I not doing that? Or, they just got a bad grade on a test. Well, or someone didn't like them. They don't have good friend groups. They feel alone. And I think that's where the life skills part come in at.
Yep.
So think about this, Dave. I always ask kids, I say, throughout your lifetime, who would you have spent the most time with? They usually say my parents, my friends, my coach. No, it's yourself. So therefore, you need to get to know you. You need to get to know what your triggers are. You need to get to know what skill set you need to have to be successful. Again, whatever that success is for you, but we have to create a picture in their mind, because if we don't create that picture, society will.
Yep.
Society will create that picture for them, and you can only be you. You're not going to be successful trying to be someone else. And I tell people that it's never going to work. You are given a specific gift, a specific talent that you need in order for you to be successful. That is your purpose. Your purpose is every day be the best, wake up to be the best you can be. That's it. That is it.
Yeah, it reminds me of a meme, and I'm paraphrasing this on Facebook. It says, you are the artist of your life. Don't give anybody else the paintbrush.
You're the director of your movie called life. Absolutely. It's nobody else's responsibility. It is your life. You get to take control of it. But understand, there's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs. But that's okay. It's all within that purpose to build something inside of you.
Yeah, and you're right. Sometimes the obstacles are inner. We create those because of past history. I lay out the welcome mat for my students, try to create a very safe environment, because I tell them, I don't know what you're bringing in outside of here to the classroom, so I want this environment for at least the 50 to 75 minutes that you're going to be with me. I want you to feel like you could have fun. You could leave your problems outside the door. You can just focus on learning. In my death, dying, and bereavement class, I'm very transparent with my own history. And I tell them, if life gets in the way of school, talk to me. I'm the poster boy for life getting in the way.
Yes.
But a lot of times they still won't take me up on the offer because they still have that past history going in their head thinking, geez, the last time I did this, I got rejected. I don't want to do this. I don't want to risk that again. But once they do, with me or anybody else who has that same mentality, they realize it's like, boy, what was I waiting for? Because it made their educational experience more viable, and also reinforced to them that I'm just not a student, I'm a person that has a life, and my professor is going to respect and work with me because of other categories that will ultimately surface in my life.
Students don't care what you know until they know that you care. One of the chapters within my leadership program is called Impact Person. And what that is each student can create an impact person within the 3 areas of their life: school, extracurricular, and home. Who are your impact people in those three areas?
Yep.
And once they develop that, they take that with them forever. And that helps them when they get to college. So every stage in life where they have somebody that they can talk to in that moment. Because again, you never know what they're going through. And to them, it's the worst situation ever. So a lot of times they just need somebody, an impact person that they can talk to. And a lot of times it don't even involve you talking. They just want somebody that they trust that will listen to them. And what you do for your students is, man, you speak life into them and understand that that's a lot of them have never experienced that. They can understand that, this guy cares. He understands where I'm coming from. So therefore, this is a safe space, a safe place. I can talk to him because you never know what they have at home. You never know what they're going through in that moment.
Yeah.
They could be in crisis and they need someone to talk to. I even have students that will say to me, I've been waiting all weekend to come to your class. And I'm like, well, okay, well, why is that? Well, because I didn't have anyone to talk to all weekend. So my motivation to not get in trouble, because I didn't want to let you down, but also wanted to come talk to you about what was going on just in my life at that moment, right? And that moment for them is crisis.
Yeah.
But you never know what someone's going through. We always want to have that open door policy. Hey, are you okay? Do you need to talk? Can I help you with something? You need someone to talk to. You don't have to go at it alone. And that's where we get a lot of the suicide stuff, because they feel alone. They don't feel like they can continue, that they can move forward. But we know that's not true. It's okay. Get the help that you need. Find that impact person and just reach out to them and let them know what you're feeling and what you're going through. And I've had mentors in my life that it's been some dark times, but they spoke life into me. They just, every student and every person for that matter, they just want somebody to believe in them, somebody to listen, and that's it.
And they want somebody to give them a reason to continue to go on.
Absolutely.
Believes that their life is worth living. And that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Students coming to you in crisis and they're thinking, Keith, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to live this life anymore. What they want is they want you to talk them out of it.
Absolutely.
Give me a reason to live. And I had one student that, she experienced, Keith, more loss during COVID and before COVID than any 20-year-old should ever have experienced. And she took death, dying, and bereavement with me 3 times. She failed it the first 2 times, not because she was unwilling to do the work. It was just life got in the way. She experienced a loss of a sibling, a loss of a relative, a couple of individuals that she cared for in a local nursing home during COVID, and she was just overwhelmed. So she came in for the 3rd time for my class, and I pulled her aside and I said, look, if you wanted to take a less stressful course, I wouldn't blame you. Because of what she'd been through, I would support that. But she looked at me and she goes, Dave, I came to finish what I started. And during the semester, she came to see me, and I'll never forget this conversation. And she said to me, she goes, she was having issues with her family, her father. And she basically said, I don't know if I want to continue living. Who would care if I just killed myself? And I looked at her, and I always tell my students, you've all become a part of my extended family because of what you mean to me and how you've helped me during my toughest times. And I looked at her and I said, yeah, there'd be one person who would be upset and would miss you, and that would be me, because you now become a part of my family. I wouldn't want to lose a part of my family. And that was the message that I gave her. I could feel her pain based on, and you're aware of my own circumstances, having the experience of the death of a child, the death of an adult daughter. It would have been like losing my daughter all over again. And I was going to do whatever I could do to get her to delay that decision. Today, she's married, she's got a child, and she's doing well. She trusted me in her most vulnerable moment, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
It gives me goosebumps because, again, that's speaking life into people. That's what people without confidence need. They need a Dave in their life. They need somebody that can give them permission.
Yeah.
Somebody that believes in them, somebody that want to see them win.
Well, and that's why I like you right off the bat, because we see student development the same way. We are vested in having these students be the best that they can be. And we're going to provide whatever resources beyond the physical teachings, beyond the curriculum, to make sure that they reach their goals. Because, I want to see our impact. I want to see those lessons live on in those generations long after we're gone.
I look at my life's experiences. I used to question some of the experiences that I've had as a kid, but now as an adult, as a true leadership coach, I'm thankful for those experiences, because it's that adversity that I faced that's now allowing me to help other people find their future, to find their purpose, just like what you're doing in that situation with her. And it just took one person, someone that she had a safe space with, that believed in her, that saw what she couldn't see because of life. And we need that impact person to kind of guide us, to kind of say, hey, it's okay. Get up, brush yourself off, but let's keep moving forward. Let's keep moving beyond. Let's keep finding that balance and gaining experience, because that's really what true success is. Reach one, teach one.
Absolutely. And, we're all capable of doing this. We don't have to have an academy. We don't have to have a classroom. Life is the classroom. Our environments are a classroom. We are born with love. I really, truly believe that.
Absolutely.
And we're capable as a society of transcending difference and showing love to our fellow human being, because one of the things that binds us is that we all face adversity. So together, and I'm going to use one of your talking points, together we can help individuals and society turn adversity into opportunity.
Adversity is actually the quickest way to growth. Think about the things that adversity teaches. It really shows you where you are in that moment, right? But when you think about resistance helps us grow. How you can let adversity define you, or you can let it teach you. These circumstances don't define you. That's just where you are in that moment. That has nothing to do with your future, right? This is not, what you're going through today is not your final destination. It's just fuel. Your circumstances now is just fuel to help you get to the destination that you're supposed to get to, and we call that destination your purpose.
Yep. And there might be many roads, there might be many subpaths to that, your purpose. As I tell my students all the time, you're not supposed to have the rest of your life figured out at 18.
Yes.
You do what you're passionate about, draw the things that give you joy, and eventually you're gonna grow into your purpose. You'll find that purpose. And it's also, I tell my student athletes, you're doing things that I couldn't do. You're doing things physically that I could never do at your age.
Yeah.
So I know winning and whether if it's from D1 to D3, the emphasis is on winning, because athletics brings students into generate admissions and also bring in revenue for colleges.
Yes.
But it's like, experience the joy of movement, the joy of being able to excel physically, the joy of being part of something greater than yourselves. And many of us may never even get to be a part of. And the winning will take care of itself. But it's just celebrate what you can do. The outcome will take care of itself. Like Coach Osborne, he set up the environment where it was people first. You take an interest in lives first. You create a culture of unity where everybody is aligned and is going to look out for each other and work hard to achieve the goal. The wins will take care of themselves. You were a part of 2 consecutive national championships with him. So that's all that needs to be said.
I was a part of the development process, and it was the development process before the championships was the most important thing. I mean, he always said, it's not about the titles. It's about the character. What will you take from this program? What will you take from this program? And it just taught me so much in a time where I didn't value education. I didn't understand teamwork. I didn't understand life. I didn't understand truly myself.
Yep.
And those were the wins. And I always tell people, winning championships doesn't make you a champion. Being a champion helps you win championships. It's not about Saturday. It's what did you do Monday through Friday? What is your preparation? Because you truly get out of life what you put into it.
Yep.
So it's not about wins and losses. It's about learning. It's about success. It's about seeing the big picture. It's about impacting each other, going through a journey with someone. You know what I mean? The titles I could care less about. The locker room conversations, the life lessons, the true friends that you go through things with. I mean, I had friendships now from my former high school teammates that I never thought I would ever have. To be able to go through that journey. We never talk about titles. We never talk about the championships. That was just a product of hard work. Games was practices to us. To us, our practices was the game. So just that building and being intentional about education and being intentional about your life. And just, again, character over titles.
Yeah.
Are you a good person? Will you pass that on and help someone else?
Yeah. Because the life of an athlete is pretty finite, because anything can happen, a career-ending injury, illness. So it's like, beyond athletics, what are you going to do to make your mark? What are you going to do to leave your lasting imprint? And it's about, like you said, it's about building character. It's about building purpose. It's about building discipline. And all of that goes into it. I would be remiss as a trained observer. I see in the background, for those of you going to be watching on YouTube, your book, The Student Success Formula.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the Student Success Formula. What do you want educators, students, organizations to take away from it?
The Student Success Formula, what it is really a roadmap for students to find success. It's also a roadmap, a blueprint for teachers. One of the biggest things that have come from that is for parents. I've had parents call and say that they're so thankful for the book because it helps them understand what their child is going through. It's really helped them connect with the student, but also with education. And it's things that they can teach at home. All of those personal agencies, because we tell students, okay, we want you to believe in yourself. We want you to be successful. But we don't have programs out there to teach them how.
Yes.
So then the student says, yes, I can be anything I want to be, but how do I do that? Give me some steps to do that. So part of the Student Success Formula is it comes from a mental standpoint, a mentality standpoint, where it actually teaches the mentality of those life skills, of how to set goals, how to develop confidence, right? How to communicate, right? How to believe in yourself. What happens when you're facing conflicts? How to manage your emotions. Those little things that help them understand that you are the subject. You can be accountable. Well, how do I do that? How do I take control of my life? Because everyone wants control, but they don't know how to take control. You can't take control of the wheel if you're in the passenger side.
Yeah.
Right? And that helps them then, the book, get more out of education, understand how important education is, but it's really a roadmap for students for something that they can see. And it's 22 chapters within the book that really helps them get through the day to build confidence. Those what we call personal agencies, life skills to help them move forward in life, just to let them know I have something. I have a roadmap now that can help get me through those times, that can help me find an impact person no matter where I'm at in life. You go off to college, it's all new. It teaches them how to find that impact person within the department, right? And then to be able to communicate, that's the biggest thing. And to be able to deal with life's issues. And one of the things that the data from the book is really been great on, it's really cut down bullying. It's really cut down absenteeisms, because students, when you believe in yourself and you understand that education is a part of success, now you're more confident and you understand your purpose of being in the building. Being in a building doesn't guarantee you an education. And I think we need to understand that. You still have to work when you get in the building, right? But you get out of life what you put into it. You get out of your education what you put into it. You know, that is your blueprint. It's just that simple. It's on Amazon, and it's called a Student Success Formula. And I recommend everyone gets it because it's really a roadmap. Teachers love it. Counselors love it. Social workers love it. So it's been successful and very rewarding for me because I'm able to put all my experiences into a book.
Yeah, and particularly anytime we can teach, usable life skills, that's going to go beyond what they learn in the classroom.
Absolutely. Because
gonna go-
education is everywhere.
Right.
Everything is, you could learn from every situation in life.
Yeah, and if we have the life skills to go along with, with our desire for education, it's going to make education more rewarding.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be able to navigate the academic environment. So, Keith, I could sit here and talk to you for another 2 hours, but I know you've got another podcast to prepare for, which reminds me, we have to give a shout out to April Wyatt. April
Yes.
is a great woman. I've been on her podcast. She's been on mine. She found you on LinkedIn and introduced the two of us, and that's how we got to this point today. So I got to really thank April for getting us together and allowing us to have what I think was a great conversation today.
Yeah.
So
She's amazing. She is amazing. Shout out to you, April.
you got it. My last question for you. People want to get in touch with you, find out more about Mercer Elite. And obviously, you've already told us how to purchase the book. What's the best way for them to do that?
The best way to do it, you can go to my website. It's mercerelite.com. You can go reach me on LinkedIn, Instagram. All the social media tools is under Mercer Elite. If you want to help build your teams, your organizations, schools, corporations, to help build your culture, to develop confidence, to help develop leadership under pressure, that's the key, because life is going life. Please reach out. I would love to come in and have, whether it's keynotes, conferences, workshops, whatever it takes, whatever you need, we can make that happen.
And I will make sure all of your contact information gets in the episode notes before we go live. So, Keith, thank you so much for just a great conversation today. I truly enjoyed it, and I hope we can do this again in the future.
Thank you, Dave, for all that you do. I don't think people understand just how invested you are in people, right? In helping people create a future that they can be proud of, because that's the big picture, your service. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to part 2.
Absolutely. And I've always been drawn to people like yourself who care and are committed to service, because together, we can do some great things to make positive impact in the lives of our future generations. So thank you for what you do and what you continue to do. So, and with that, that's a wrap on another episode of the Teaching Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Dave Roberts, wishing you peace